Hello, guys. I'm live. I think this should be working. Coming to you from the Queen City, the Radio City. The city that's raining like freaking crazy. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know. Jim, my man, you're the one I always need to know from. It looks like everything is working well from here, but one can never be sure. So, jump in, let me know. We got lots to talk about today. We got, Jimmy Kimmel's back on the air. That's good. ABC either caved to pressure or somehow a righteous angel reached them. That's a good thing. On the other side of things, we've got some people to talk about, folks. There's a group of assholes known as I was going to say Nextar, and they are too. Sinclair, I'll mention first because, as many of you know, I once was a paid on-air analyst to be the liberal who would take on as many conservatives as they could throw at me, because the hint in the sort of thing you got to realize about conservatives is they're really fucking dumb. So it's not really a challenge taking on one of them. I could sort of read a book and put my legs up and maybe watch a stream Breaking Bad. That was probably before that time, but you know what I mean. Three of them, a little more of a challenge. Not huge. But we got to make this about Sinclair and Nextar's final line. Nextar, of course, is the bunch of a-holes who are also now refusing. I think our friend Luke is already in here, so we'll get him on soon. But in any case, Nextar is also refusing right now. And they have a pressure point that I haven't heard anybody bring up. First of all these guys, Sinclair, Nextar, all of them have affiliates throughout the country. There's two Sinclair ones right here in Cincinnati, which honestly, if I weren't on air with you right now, I would robo-puke. They make me want to hurl. I hate them. I don't watch those channels, but I can still tell them I'm not going to watch them anymore because of them, even though I haven't since, I wrote a New York Times piece back in the day that I think I've shared with you all before. Share with you again. I can't read it anymore because I unsubscribed from the New York Times because the New York Times sucks and puts up corporate pablum. But if you can, I will put it in here for you so you can read it and see all about what biased, literal hunks of shit they are. They're not just sort of, but that's really letting them off too easy. Not hunks of shit. I would say they're more sort of a congealed pile of elephant dung in New York in August, put inside of a flaming dumpster, also being at the same time napalmed and hit by a star that is experiencing an event horizon. The smell of which I assume would be awful, but not quite as bad as Sinclair. But Nextar turns out has even more ABC stations. And guess what else they have? They have this shitty news show on, which I noticed popping up, you may have 6 months to a year ago, called News Nation. Their numbers were rising as people were leaving CNN and MSNBC, and I don't blame people for that. Certainly CNN, I have my feelings on MSNBC. I've made them known. To me, there are a couple of great liberal hosts on there, and otherwise they are corporate. They fired Matthew Dowd. They fired every host of color. They are almost feel like the Scarborough Daily at this point. So I'm not a big fan, but I understand if folks wanted to watch that. But when they left those, they went to News Nation. We need to let everybody know, and I'm going to be making that my mission, that News Nation is owned by Nextar. Don't watch it. It's garbage. It's stupid. It's filled with stupid people. It is almost like you already have Republicans who, on some level, are born. Well, let's just say they're born with numerous emotional challenges, and now they've self-lobotomized and decided they're going to see how much stupider they can fucking get. I always could tell it leaned to the right, News Nation, but I never bothered to look up who owned them. So just know they're part of Nextar, and everybody should boycott that crap and not watch it. I think not enough people know who they are. We need to make sure everybody knows who they are. And if we do that, I think News Nation will crash, because the righties are not. I don't think they're watching it. They're watching, they need their daily supply of conspiracies. Give me that 2020 election win. Yeah, vaccines. They're what's wrong with society, right? Tylenol. don't take Tylenol. Right. I mean, I love how these channels are trying to like, come after us for misinformation. And it's like, you know what? If you have a problem with misinformation and disinformation, you really just can't show the president of the United States anymore. You really never could. All right. Because first of all, disinformation starts with the fact that he calls that thing on his head hair. And we all know that it's some kind of mixture of piss cotton candy, right? As Penn Jillette said, we know that. But it goes further from there. But I like the fact that both David and my good friend Luke are here. I want to do one more thing before I let them on, guys. As you all are awesome and are supporters. Our Substack today is going to be going out with a partner. I call them an ad for a great product called Incogni. These are folks that can actually help you scrub your information off of the internet, something I need to do because I get those threats and that kind of stuff. And if you want to support us and keep things like this show free, a way you could help us do that, and I'm going to give it to you right here, is if you were to go and click on Incogni and check them out. You may find you actually really like them and need them because our information is everywhere and there's sleazy brokers out there selling it to anybody and everybody. But, you're helping me just by checking it out. So I'm going to say to you, please do that. You want to do that for the show? You want the show to remain free? Great way to do that would be to go check out Incogni. All right. Now, let's let the gentleman in. It isn't all gentlemen today. It's Luke.
How's it going? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great.
Perfect.
You haven't cursed yet, though, so I'm a little concerned.
Well, we haven't gotten started yet.
Let me get Schuster in here. David Schuster.
Hello, Luke.
How's it going? Nice to meet you, too.
We can feel good, David, because the next generation is doing well. And maybe just like we've argued in elected politics, maybe if in our pundit politics, if we could start replacing some of the sort of geriatric cane wielding older sort of gentlemen who look like they're about to fall over and collapse. They probably have purple shit on their hands like Donald Trump. Anyhow, your Mark Penns, your Doug Jones, all the assholes who once worked for Clinton that I worked for.
Well, and Luke, as an older guy, I'm going to give you the best advice that I got when I was younger, sort of getting into business. And this sort of ties into something I was just dealing with a few minutes ago. Back in the old days, you may not know this, but we used to have these things called satellite trucks. And that's how we would feed like tape and all that kind of stuff. And I was told by my boss, you never, ever want to be in a satellite truck or like in the intake room when they're trying to feed your video. You just, because so many things can go wrong, you'll just drive yourself crazy. And if you're like the talent there and you're just waiting for this thing to deliver it, you just go crazy. So he says, take my advice. Don't be part of that. It also applies, I think, Cliff, to watching your videos now export or trying to deal with some Wi-Fi issue. That if
it's insufferable.
So depending on especially if you're in an office somewhere, depending on where you are, how the Wi-Fi is doing, you're like 46%, 46.28%.
I swear to God, I've seen it go down. I've seen it.
I have too.
I've seen it go down.
It goes up and down. I think it does it just to fuck with you.
Anyway, that's my advice. That's my advice. Luke, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I mean, somebody put something about Chuck Grassley in here, and I meant to mention that old fuck in a piece that I wrote. I have no respect for any of these people anymore, guys, and it's just going to get worse. So just expect me to speak about them like that. But when Democrats stupidly gave in 3/4 in the House and took this vote for Charlie Kirk, which I wrote a Substack about because it angered me so much.
It's a fucking joke.
Right. It's a fucking joke, is exactly. They didn't demand that if they were going to even take that vote, that Melissa Hortman be added in. They didn't demand that school children shot to death for the crime of sitting in their classrooms be included. They shouldn't have voted on the damn thing to begin with. But if they're going to vote on something for Charlie Kirk, you better at the very least get all of those. You better get at least school children or Melissa Hortman or other people that were good people added in.
Yeah. Do what we fucking send you there to do.
There you go. And what I'll kick it to you. But the last thing I wanted to mention, because it pisses me off, I forgot to mention it in the piece, is I want to be like, you guys are voting to lionize this, okay, he's dead. I won't go off on him. Charlie Kirk, God forbid, because, the right will, blow another
more death threats.
Yeah, they'll blow another spadoinkle and start doing whatever they do. But Chuck Grassley is a senator and voted against a Martin Luther King Day. Voted against the Martin Luther King Day and is still there. That's how old he is, and that's the Republican Party in 1983. Okay, that's, I'm going to guess, well before Luke was born.
You would be correct.
I was, I think, 11 or 10. Chuck Grassley voted against Martin, so he's the only one left. And so we have a senator in there who voted against Martin Luther King Day, but 3/4 of Democrats couldn't get themselves to vote against a day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. That's really a comparison I wanted to make and I forgot to make, and just infuriates me.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that one yet. That's infuriating.
Yes. So you, man, 800 something. I looked right before, 864,000 was the number I saw. TikTok followers. I know that the coming regime will probably try to lower that.
Oh, yeah.
You may just be too damn popular. What led you to start doing those things? First of all, Lo, before you answer that, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It is honestly my pleasure. I'm going to tell you why, because could I have, if it was somebody else sitting here with the same number of followers as you, that'd be nice. It's great. Always great to cross-pollinate, share our audiences. That's not it. It's that what I try to do, and I won't speak for David, but he can speak for himself. What we try to do with the Substack, or what we try to do with the YouTube, is be honest with people about what's going on, but also channel what we know they're feeling, because we're feeling the same thing.
Right.
I will not be dishonest about my feelings about the state of things, and that leads to people to be like, "You're so profane." I'm like, well, our society is profane right now. Like taking food away from school children so they can't eat is fucking profane. So you can give Elon Musk, a tax cut, so he can grow a third stomach. So you know what? Like, let me kick to you and say, thank you for doing what you do, because again, you are not scared of telling it like it is, and I think that's why you've blown up the way you have. But I'd love to hear how you got into it, what motivated you, all of that.
Anger is what motivated me. I don't know that I've ever felt more fucking enraged than like November 7th, when it was like, oh, half the country just fucked us and looked us in the eye while they did it. And so I started, like, I posted my first TikTok, I think November 10th last year. And I started out a little more soft-spoken. And initially I wasn't even speaking at all. I would just do like written shit with a video behind it. Yeah. And then there was one video I made where it just fucking blew up. I mean, it's my single best performing video I've ever made. I think it has 16.4 million views on TikTok. I'll never touch it. Never touch it. And after that, everybody was like, yeah, this kid's rage is how I feel. And I was like, all right, we're turning the fucking thing up then. And since then, I have not held back how I feel about a single fucking thing ever. And the most common comment I get is, I feel what he feels. And thank you for saying it this way. And I think that's probably what you get a lot too, is that
Luke,
these people...
where are you? How old are you? And sort of, are you done with college? Are you in college? I mean, how did you...
When we say where, don't get too specific.
Right.
Done with college. I'm in
bad people
Iowa.
There. Go ahead. Sorry, Luke. Go ahead.
I am done with college. I'm 22 and I'm in fucking Iowa.
All right.
Okay.
Wow. Terrible state.
And so, what caused your interest in sort of politics? I mean, because look, there are a lot of younger people who generally just don't pay much attention to the news or not following things very closely. What motivated you to sort of want to get involved or to feel like your voice needed to be heard?
I mean, I saw a lot of people that I didn't think their voices should be heard. I was like, if they're gonna spread that shit, I'm gonna spread something that has actual meaning. I mean, I like the day of the election, when it was out that Trump had won, I saw an influx of people who'd never said anything about politics ever, and influencers even. They were coming out like gym influencers with their fucking red hats, and they were all cheering. It was like, you guys had a part in this, right? Like all you MAGA bro gym influencers that have never said anything about politics, but you subtly push this alt-right bullshit. It's your fault. I'm not like, and if you're going to spread something, I'm going to spread something too.
Good for you. I mean, seriously, because look, we should all be talking about this, right? But I do think especially considering and polling shows he's losing folks among your folks just like you that he gained, but he won over a lot of younger white men with all that bullshit about, you're being put upon by women and by minorities and, all that crap. And it worked with some people. And so you having a countervailing voice out there and being like, listen, fuck all of you. I'm a white guy. I'm young. And like, I'm not sitting here whining and crying about it. I like
fucking
that
absurd.
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Trump convinced people who look just like me and are my age that if it's not the women's fault, it's the minorities' fault. And if it's not the minorities' fault, then it's the illegal immigrants' fault. And that's why their life sucks. And that, look at that while he gives you eye contact and fucks you while he takes your money. And that I just refuse to stand for that. I will not let people look me in the eye and tell me that that's how they feel.
And what was the video? You mentioned the video that got 16 million. What was the topic or what was the trigger? I mean, tell us a little bit about the message that you had there.
That one was actually about free lunch for kids.
Okay.
When I was in about 8th grade, my school had put in a policy that every kid got a free lunch at school. No matter, didn't matter if you were a poor kid or a rich kid, you got a free lunch. And it was paid for by the town I lived in. And, I thought at the time, that's a good idea. There's kids in my class who don't eat when they're not at school. And my dad came home from a day at work and was like, hey, we have to go to the school board meeting. And that's the first time in my life I'd ever been to a school board meeting. And we got there, and it was because there was 30 or 40 parents that were in front of the school board whining and fucking moaning about the fact that they were going to have to pay for some kid's lunch, that it was just not right that they would have to pay for another kid's lunch. And my dad at the time, he got up in front of the school board. He said, I am a product of free lunch. He said, I had free lunch my entire childhood. And then he turned around to the crowd and he goes, if you have a problem with paying for kids free lunch, you can bill me. And then he looked at the school board and thanked him and left. And then the point I made.
What a great influence to have on you. Not everybody has that from their parents. That's fantastic.
Yep. But the point I made at the end of the video is that it was like a Wednesday night was that school board meeting. And then Sunday morning rolled around and we were at church and the same 30 fucking parents were in the front row at church. And I was like, you're just not going to fucking tell me that that's not hypocrisy of the highest order.
Right. They love them some Jesus, just nothing he actually said.
Yep. Nothing he actually said.
That it's funny you bring that up now. So that's where I first saw you, not shockingly, 16.4 million, because I've got 2 boys, and one of my boys, came to me and was like, have you seen this guy? And that was the first time. And now you just sort of jogged my memory, because I remember it was the school lunches thing. And I was thinking, there are a lot of things that someone your age and, even within the realm of politics, right? There's something that a lot of people your age could have been talking about, pissed off about.
Sure.
And the fact that you chose that one, I thought was incredible, right? To me, that shows such maturity. It shows such understanding of because again, I don't know where exactly from it. I said, I don't want you to get too specific because of people out there, but you're in Iowa.
Nut jobs.
We're in Iowa, pretty white state.
Very white.
to joke a little bit about it. Yeah. And you very easily could look around, see people just like you and be like, screw those other people. And the fact that you, and I'm sure sounds like your dad played a role in this, could realize that, in some fashion, if we're truly decent human beings and we truly believe in what democracy is supposed to be, the public good, how could we let our fellow students starve, right? How could we? And the fact that you got that at that age, because I didn't get it that quickly, is incredible. It really is.
I mean, that's just it, right? Of all of the Republican bullshit that they spread, that singular issue is near the top of my list of things that I will never understand about them. That they will line Elon Musk's pockets till the day fucking ends, but paying for a kid's lunch at school so that they get a lunch every day is just out of the realm of possibility. And they will sit there and question everything about it. Well, does this kid really need it? Are his parents working? Does he need it? And they won't question a single goddamn dollar that's going to Elon. And I cannot fucking stand it.
And to close the loop on this, I assume that the school board backed off.
Yeah. They that policy stayed for a while. I think it's still there.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's it, right? I mean, you made a difference, and I think, you know, we all get into this, and we have to start worrying about certain things, especially if you do it for a living, right? Because you have to be like, oh, okay, what's the brand and what's the this and what's the that? But we all try to remind ourselves why we got into this.
Yep.
We could have done anything.
Every time I have like a slump where I just like can't think of what I want to do, I go back and watch that video, and I'm reminded of how I felt about things and still feel about things. And
yep,
boom, back in.
Yeah.
It.
Luke, what else have you been talking about? What else has resonated with your audience?
Masculinity is a topic that comes around pretty frequently because
I want more on that. Tell us that, because of course you've probably got some of the bros showing up and.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, the damnedest thing about it is like most of them I bench more than, and they really, really don't like if you point that out. But I really, really despise the right-wing idea of masculinity because I think it's antithetical to anything that being a real man actually is, right? Like, I know, let's put down the people who need the most help. That's really masculine. Let's bottle everything up and then die at 55 because we couldn't talk about our emotions because it made us unmasculine. I can't stand that shit. It's stupid. And so I've made a couple videos where, like, because I'm a big gym goer. I go to the gym every day. And I've had a couple interactions with people who've seen my social media shit and have said something to me about it at said gym. And almost every time I make a video about those interactions, because it's always that they're just like, "Why aren't you a little soy boy?" It's like, all right, yep, I'll put your ass on the internet and you'll be ruined.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they don't seem to ever learn. You're like, hey, guys, I have almost 900,000 followers on TikTok, and I think you've got 600,000 or something on Instagram. It really may not be there used to be an old saying back when David will get it, right? Back when reporters were the thing in newspapers, was it never start a fight with anybody that buys ink by the barrel or whatever it was, because they'll destroy you. Well, maybe it's pixels by the barrel now. I don't really know what it is, but like when you've got that many people who are following you, I mean, obviously it just shows how stupid these people are, because like,
I know.
You want to pick that fight because you'll be famous or infamous in no time.
Right.
And,
no, but
yeah,
masculinity, like I said, is a topic that comes around frequently because there's so many. I think I was truly surprised the first time I talked about it at how many men there are, young men on the left, that feel like they can't, like there's nobody else like them, that they're alone. And I was shocked by that. And because there are so few young men that talk about politics on the left.
You're right.
It's not a surprise. I mean, it is a surprise.
I feel like they kind of cowed young men on the left into a corner with that same crap that they were saying to you. The difference is you have a combination of, like, the self-confidence, and maybe, I don't know, once they were coming to you, already had these large accounts, which always helps you sort of say, hey, whatever. But, you clearly felt like you can stand up and say this stuff. Because David, I'm sure you went through it too. All of us who, college afterwards, like, especially I'm Gen X, and I'd get that stuff about, like, oh, you're being a wimp and you're worried about that. And I was always the same way. I'm like, what don't you understand? What is masculine about a woman bleeding out in a bathroom because she can't go have a health procedure? What is masculine about letting a bunch of school children get so blown apart by an assault rifle that you have to use DNA to figure out who they are? Like, what do you think is? In fact, if you were to go back in time, you'd find that any of the founders would laugh at your pathetic asses, because they would look at something like an assault rifle, like, you need to spray a whole fucking area with an assault rifle because you can't shoot. I mean, like, like they're just, they overcompensate with everything, because inside, and Donald Trump's the best example, inside he knows he's been bankrupt 5 or 6 times. He's been married 3 times. He's scammed anybody and everybody in every opportunity. He sucks at everything. He fails at everything. He finds a way to bankrupt casinos where people fucking hand you money for nothing. Like, he is an unbelievable lifetime loser. And the way he makes up for that is by bullying people and all of that. Well, that's just on a larger level what happens, obviously, in schools and places every day. And I just wish we had more out there. I think you having your voice out there is so important because I think it helps convince other guys. I mean, look, there's a problem also with middle-aged white guys, and maybe David and I being out there help convince some of them. Like, I've had a few people come to me who once were, either Republican or Democratic and didn't want to admit it and said, hey, I'm glad you're out there. I'm glad there are other folks out there like you because I feel more comfortable, and we need to create that space because white guys have been voting like idiots. So,
I mean, there are two of my favorite messages to get is one, you inspired me to start talking. And I love that. And I love it because everybody should be talking at this point. I cannot understand being silent these days.
Yeah.
And two, you changed my mind, which is a little more rare because I have a bit of a rough approach to people. But it's pretty, every once in a while I'll get one where it's like, I needed somebody to shake the shit out of me and tell me how stupid I was being. And that is my favorite. And I get them, not as common, but they're there.
And on that point, Luke, I mean, has there been a particular, issue or particular thing you've been able to say to people, or has there been something that Donald Trump has done that has convinced people that maybe their confidence or their support of Donald Trump was misplaced, that maybe they were wrong? I mean, what has sort of become the aha moment for a lot of people you speak with?
Two things. One, the farmer situation that's going on right now.
Especially in Iowa, right?
Especially in Iowa. A lot of people that are suddenly thinking twice about how they voted, which I'm sure will change just like it did his first term as soon as he writes them a check. But second that I've seen and that I nitpick at every chance I get is his health, because they touted him in December as, stable genius. He's super healthy. I mean, he stood up after he got shot. He was healthy. And then you look at the fucking guy now and he's rotting as we speak. I mean, he's a fetid corpse 99% of the time, and then they doctor him up with makeup. And
I think he's already dead, and his body
doesn't,
his brain doesn't realize it yet, but his body already is.
He might be that guy from Men in Black, the alien guy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's bad. It is bad. But I mean, I point out that shit about his health as often as I can, as often as I can do it, because there are moments that are going on now that if Joe Biden had done them, these fucking people would have been in the streets of protesting and calling for impeachment.
Of course.
They're starting to see the hypocrisy in that.
Well, and on your first point about the farmers, I was just reading, Cliff, that there are 500,000 soybean farmers in the United States. And because of the trade war with China, and by the way, China is the #1 world consumer of soybeans and the biggest consumer of U.S. soybeans. And because of Donald Trump's trade war, they're not buying any U.S. soybeans.
They're buying some from Argentina now.
Right. And they know how to hurt us because I'll say quickly, David, I'm sorry, but they know that it's actually focused in key swing states. Like Iowa's huge, but Ohio is a big one too, and some of the other ones, and they're purposely. Go ahead, David.
Well, and the conservative response has been, the soybean farmers can simply find other markets other than China. Well, actually, no, they can't, because a lot of the inputs into soybean farming, you're talking about pesticides and fertilizers and equipment, that's also costing more because of the Trump tariffs and all these things that are coming from overseas. So as a result, the cost, I think, per soybean, bushel for the United States is significant, like 20% higher than, as Luke mentioned, Argentina or Venezuela or some of these other places that are producing soybeans. So even if there are other markets, Canada, wherever else that wants to buy U.S. soybeans, why would they when U.S. soybeans are now more expensive? And as a result, you have all of these soybean farmers in particular that they're losing their shirts. So that's the first part. I think the second part about Trump's age, which is so interesting. We've had this sort of I don't want to say problem, but it's for all of us who are paying close attention to Donald Trump, and we watch the entire UN speech. We can see how Looney Tunes it is. Part of the problem that I find with even some of my own family members is they're not paying that close attention. They simply see a clip here or there or a 10-second soundbite on the evening news, and so
it sounds all right.
It's a shock to them when we present to them, well, here's 2 minutes worth of Donald Trump. Listen how crazy this is.
I mean, I made a video the other day. It was from his speech. Fuck, I don't remember what it was. But it was when he was in Britain or the UK. And he made a speech he was talking about how he was the first president to do something. And it was completely intelligible. And I just read off a blatant transcript of what he said. And I just asked the viewer, tell me what he meant. And there wasn't one, not one person in the comments that could figure out what he said. It was like, all right, if Joe Biden had done that, you fucking people would have lost your minds.
Right. Let's see if I can pull this off, guys, because I'm bad at this stuff.
I think his comment in the UK was something about that he was the first president to get a state dinner or to be honored by the royals. And actually, every president of the last
it's a lie.
30 years has been honored by the. I mean, it's crazy.
I wanted to actually hold on. Let's see if we can get it so it's playing.
The teleprompter that didn't work. The number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell ever heard of that one? In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs. I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities. There's climate change.
Oh, here we go.
It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens.
You hear them laughing when he said that?
Yeah. They should put a laugh track in the background.
No more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by.
All right, I'm gonna get rid of him because he's an idiot.
Tough to listen to.
It really is. Oh wait, are we now not up here? Have we disappeared?
I think we disappeared.
Oh, you gotta put yourself back up, I think.
Voices in the void.
There we go.
Oh, now we're at the bottom.
Well, it reminds me of the, I mean, this may be too old for you, Luke, but there's a movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. And there's a famous scene, of course, where they're all in this insane asylum and this guy's going off in this bizarre tangent and all the other, I don't want to say inmates, but all the other patients are just looking at him and then like this guy's crazy.
It's just.
Well, we'll do this for now. Okay. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Shocking. I mean, that UN speech was a global embarrassment.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand how somebody can look at that speech and think, that's the guy I want speaking for my country. I want the guy who tells everybody else that their country's going to hell and who can't stop fucking patting himself on the back the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it amazing that like the standards just seem to constantly be dropped?
They're pushing those
goalposts. How much can you humiliate us? How much can you? I mean, that climate thing, they were all openly laughing at him,
right?
And this is the first. These guys
are literally a laughing stock. I mean, and that says nothing about the fucking escalator and the teleprompter, which, as I recall, it was a major right-wing talking point that Joe Biden needed a teleprompter and Trump did not need one. I mean,
right?
Yeah, watch that fucking speech. He is looking right at it.
No, I loved how last night, like right after the whole issue with the speech and the escalator essentially coming to a stop as soon as Donald Trump got on it, there was Donald Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, on Fox News saying, oh, this must have been UN staffers and they're going to be held accountable. And the UN actually did a quick investigation by looking at the video. What they realized is that one of the White House videographers that travels with Donald Trump to get his picture, as he was going up the escalator, he actually bumped into the off switch, the cutoff switch. That's what caused it. So it was Donald Trump's own entourage, his own staff's fault. But the idea that this White House takes accountability or responsibility for anything.
Right.
Obviously, it was a UN attempt to assassinate Trump by making him go up a flight of stairs.
I was going to say, I mean, if you think about it, I just love that first of all, every inanimate object turned on Trump there, which includes the escalator, the teleprompter, and Melania, if you saw how she was looking back at him.
Fuck. I have never seen somebody as icy as that.
Oh, she was ready to, but Second of all, it was like I did the math, and I think walking up that flight of stairs on average was about what Trump gets in about 13.27 days of exercise. So that was a tough one too
Maybe
for
it was
him.
RFK. Maybe RFK is like, you got to get healthy.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get healthy. Here, come have some raw milk, and let's
maybe a little beef tallow.
Yeah, and if you drive around, if we can find a whale's fucking head to put on your car, I think you'll be all set. I mean, you run out of language for these people because
you really do. I have to come up with like new scripts. Every once in a while, it's like, because like a lot of my content, my insults and shit, I worked on high school, or like in high school, I worked on construction job sites a lot in the summer. And so all I think back to is like, what did those guys say to each other? And every once in a while, when I need new insults, it's like, I'll call some coworkers, see what they've heard these days.
Well, if you need stuff, I'll tell you. The most brilliant, like sort of artist, I would say, in the actual art of the takedown profile is David Schuster. Because
really,
oh my God, in our Substack, he's taken on Eric Trump, Stephen Miller, Kash Patel, Scott Bessent, Christy Nome. Every once in a while, David's just like, yeah, I'm going to take this person, and like, it is amazing.
Eviscerates them.
The language he uses, how funny it is. David lets you know exactly what they're doing that's awful, how much they suck, but in between the laugh lines are just everywhere. So if you're missing material,
I'll give it a look.
Go check out what David does, because I love it.
The latest column was about, so the CDC, because of RFK Jr., they decided that everybody who's been teleworking for the last 5 years because of COVID, that now teleworking has to end. And under federal law, if you're disabled and you're infirm, no, you're supposed to be getting some sort of special accommodation. That's the law. But in their infinite wisdom, the Trump administration, the guardians of our public health, decided, oh no, we're going to force everybody to go back to work, even people who are infirm, who are handicapped or disabled, whatever it is. And it's sort of like the cruelty there. And we've already proven that for many people, it's more productive, more efficient for people to work from home. It's also law if somebody is in a wheelchair, whatever it is. But it's like the laws don't apply to them. That's the Trump administration.
Right. They're being assholes.
That's in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, they're being assholes in 3 different ways. One, they're lessening, because we do know you're right, David. People who waste time in commutes and other things and don't need to. So we're hurting our productivity. So you're making things worse. Then you're also being cruel to people and making them go through more strenuous, activities to get to work, who are disabled, who shouldn't have to. And then third, if I'm correct, you're violating the Americans with Disabilities Act. So you're also breaking the law. So you're being cruel, right. I mean, a 3-for, right? You're being an asshole. You're hurting the economy, and you're also breaking the law. All in one.
And I think the reason that particular column sort of resonated with people and maybe took off to the extent that it did is to something that Luke was talking about earlier. I think, all of us are sort of disgusted, right, by the inhumanity and the way Donald Trump has treated people, but especially when Republicans or conservatives, the way they treat the least fortunate among us, whether it's people who rely on school lunches or people who rely on telecommuting because they have a disability. When those are the people that are being made to suffer, I feel like that's when the blood really starts to boil among so many of us.
And they will never miss an opportunity to punch down, ever.
No. Never. That's exactly right. I'm not sure what else you call that besides sociopathy. Because who other than a sociopath sees, a child crying because they just grabbed their mom and threw them in the back of a car and enjoys that moment.
And I just use that 5-year-old kid as bait to get that dad out of his house.
Right. Like
fucking absurd.
You have to be a sociopath. You have to be sick. Because if you have anything resembling normal human emotions, you would sit there and just be like, my God.
Those things should fill you with unfathomable rage.
Yeah.
They certainly do for me.
No, me too. I mean, again, that's one of the reasons, like when our fellow friend who we've had on here before, Chris Goldsmith, who we should mention is part of the Find Out podcast with you, another close friend of mine, Tim Fullerton. I don't know Rich, but Rich seems like a good dude.
Rich
and I feel like I'm missing somebody else. Yes. I don't know those two dudes, which is, you got to have some of those,
got to have some of them. Yep.
I don't know those two guys. Tim has been a friend for 20 years, and I've known Chris for a bit now, and they're both great guys. And Chris, Chris was one of the ones who's like, hey, you want to have on people that hit back hard, because Chris does too, which I love.
Yeah.
We don't take any shit, who are tired of like the mealy mouthed, like, let's see if we can make a deal with Republicans. Let's write a letter.
Let's push our glasses up our nose and write a strongly worded letter.
Right.
That'll fix things.
Yeah. I've made fun of Chuck Schumer about that so many times. It's like, at least if you're going to be weak, like,
can you not look weak?
Don't look. Can you not look like you're a 90, like you're the, what was it, the Mel Brooks skit, the 400-year-old man or 200-year-old man? Like, don't look like Methuselah if you're gonna fucking do it. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to give them training not just in messaging but in like appearance?
Yeah.
You know,
go to the gym, stand up straight.
Exactly. You can actually look straight forward. That's your glasses like down here. I mean, I just this whole. I mean, again, like I hate going after Democrats. Let's be clear. There are a lot of awesome Democrats. I love them. I love Jasmine Crockett. I love Eric Swalwell. I love, and again, in how they fight. I'm not even talking about at this point ideology, because I don't care anymore. It's how, whether you're a moderate,
whether you got a spine or not,
or a leftist. AOC, who's a leftist, Swalwell, who I consider probably a liberal, or Jasmine Crockett, who's a liberal, and then someone like Mark Kelly from Arizona, who's probably more of a moderate. All of them kick Republicans' asses. I love all of them. That's all I need at this point,
need to see
from
some
our
fight.
side. Right.
Well, I thought of you the other day when I was getting caught up on sort of the government shutdown that's coming, right? And so the Republicans are trying to pass this continuing resolution for 7 weeks straight up.
Right.
Democrats are saying no, you got to add the end of the at the end of the year, the Obamacare tax credits are due to expire. The Democrats say, look, add in, stop that, and then we'll support this continuing resolution. And the Republicans basically skip town. And they're we're not even going to negotiate. And so when Chuck Schumer was asked about this, he says, well, Hakeem Jeffries and I, we wrote a strongly worded letter
to
the Republican leadership so they know what our position is. And it's like,
do they understand that's like the thoughts and prayers of Democrats now?
That is a very, very good comparison.
So weak. And so anyway, it gets to sort of this point that you were just mentioning in your column. And that is, no, what the Democrats ought to say is, we're going to shut the fucking government down unless you protect people who rely on these tax credits. That's it. That's our line. And when Schumer was asked, are you going to vote to shut the government down? He sort of hemmed and hawed. So he sort of gave it away that he's going to cave. But anyway, look, I wanted to ask you, you're in Iowa. And one of the other stories that Cliff and I talked about a couple of weeks ago was Joni Ernst. She's not running for re-election. What's you pick up any intel about what's been going on with her, why she decided not to run for re-election? What does the Senate race look like? What's the political landscape in Iowa right now?
I mean, the hopeful person in me says that she's not running for re-election because she knows she fucked around with that comment where she said, we're all going to die. That's the hopeful in me. It's like, please read the room. Everybody hates you. The cynic in me says she has higher aspirations, that she wants to go somewhere else with her career. And fuck, that doesn't look very fun, because Kim Reynolds not running for re-election, and I don't want Joni Ernst as governor. I don't want that involved.
No, that's a great point. So I'll say this, because I do have one or two, I don't know if I call them inside sources, but people with some knowledge of the situation. And I don't always, but because I'm not a reporter by trade. I'm a loudmouth asshole. David's the reporter. But having been a political consultant and worked in the field, and I know some folks. So, okay. From what I heard, those two decisions are related, and that Kim Reynolds and Joni Ernst both looked at the numbers, and they're horrific. That they both were losing to unnamed Democrats, not by small amounts, but by significant amounts, because exactly the stuff we've been talking about in this show, which is there's Joni Ernst's comment, which, I mean, that could be the fodder for a million, no, not TV ads, Democrats, because we're in the fucking 2020s, but
fucking
digital
TikToks.
ads. Right. TikToks, digital ads, YouTubes, whatever. Okay. But that was part of it. But part of it was just also they've lost so many people who are so angry, farmers who, you're right, maybe that changes if they get bought off, but they looked at it and came to the conclusion that they couldn't buy enough farmers off, that they're in such a negative, that Trump's numbers have so plummeted in this, a largely farm state, that he isn't, that they wouldn't be able to overcome the tide. And I think with Joni on top of it, the comment she made was just going to rub it in that much more.
I mean,
so
you cannot. That was one of those comments that, like, I don't think you get away from.
Now you can't. Not in this age,
No.
And so I can't promise you 100% because sources are wrong, right? But two people I know, one of whom actually works in Iowa politics, said to me, the two of them, from what this person has heard, looked at their numbers and were like, even if I do win, if I can win, this is going to be such an uphill fight. This is going to be such a battle. I'm going to have to work, and God, who would want to make them work hard? I mean, you want to make those moms of 6-year-olds go to work so that the kids can eat, but you wouldn't want to make, these folks work more than 3 days in a row, that they'd have to campaign every day, they'd have to fight, they'd have to raise tons of money, and there's a very good chance they would lose. And I think they just said, fuck it, we're done. And I believe that because again, I'm in a state pretty close to yours, man. You were plus 13 Trump. We were plus 11 Trump here in Ohio, which makes me sick. And yet Sherrod Brown, I've talked about before, overperformed Kamala Harris by 8 points because he's such a great politician. He cares about workers. They know it. He speaks to them. And he didn't just jump into this race without seeing the numbers first. He saw the numbers, and now Trump has become, because there's a lot of especially in the western part of this state, a lot of farmland, and but not to mention all sorts of other job losses. And it's that Trump is so underwater here now that Sherrod Brown, who knows he can outperform your average Republican, by at least 5, 6 to 8 points, looked at it and said, I'm going to win, and I'm going to run. So it's the other decisions by people like that makes me think that my source in Iowa is correct. Because
that's my good news for the day.
Right. And the fact that you saw that guy, Dan Osborne, the one who's an independent in Nebraska, jump back in. And again, farm state, right? Like,
you can't fuck around with farmers.
Nope.
You just can't. Because I grew up around them. So, like, I feel that there's probably not a very good chance that they vote blue, but they won't go out and vote red. I mean, they're so fucking stuck in their ways that they'll never, they hate a Democrat like the day is long, but they won't come out to vote for somebody who just fucked them.
Yeah. What do you make of the Epstein scandal, Luke? I mean, because, the other big political news is Democrats now have the 218 signatures for the discharge petition because Grijalva won the special election in Arizona. She's number 218. I assume she'll be sworn in next week when the House is back in session. And then there's 7 days until the House has to have this vote. Once the House, I suppose, passes this, then it gets kicked over to the Senate, where who knows what's going to happen. But we're going to see a lot of attention for sure back on the Epstein scandal, a lot of political pressure on lawmakers. What do you make of the Epstein story in terms of how it might influence, whether it's farmers, whether it's your younger audience? What do you make of it?
I mean, the truth is, Trump should have known this was coming. He fucked around and ran on the fact that he was going to put the Epstein files out. And the problem with conspiracy-minded folks is that they don't take answers that aren't answers. Him going, well, they're not actually real, is never going to be the answer for somebody who thrives on conspiracy. And to be truthful, I don't know that there's a way out for him with those kinds of folks. Because if he tells them, I'm not in the files, look at all these Democrats, they're going to go, he's still in the files. He just redacted them, or he changed them. And if he puts it out where it's like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice a couple little baby Republicans and I'm still not in the files, they're still going to go, but why'd you fuck around so long? If you weren't in the files, you could have released them. That's the problem with conspiracy-minded folks. They are always looking for what's hidden, and whether it's there or not.
Yeah,
so I think he's pretty well fucked himself on that spot. Right. And now it's coming around to bite him. And I have absolutely zero sympathy. And as far as this like right-wing talking point that it's like, well, there's Democrats in there too. Yeah, funny story. I'm good with that. I'm good with everyone facing accountability for doing terrible things.
Isn't that weird? Like how I've said before, that I worked for and was proud of it when I came into politics for Bill Clinton, who I think did a lot of good things. And there's no proof yet that he's in there. And we even had somebody on our show a week ago who is, so I'm not just trying to shill for Clinton. Ellie Leonard sort of surprised me because she's transcribed them and she says she doesn't think that Clinton is in there. But what I will say is, if he is, and anybody else who I've previously supported, again, I'm going to put this very simply. You raped young girls. So if you raped young girls, I don't care what your name is.
Right.
I don't care what party you're in. I don't care if you've been the most charitable individual in the world. I don't care if you're the Pope. Okay, which I don't think this Pope's in there. Let's be clear. But his church has had some other issues.
Yep.
In any case, I don't really care. Don't care who you are, whether I supported you in the past or not, because we're weird that way, Luke and David and I. We're not in a cult. We actually
it's shocking that that's the way it works.
We believe what we believe. And I believe somehow, strangely, I know it's weird, that raping young girls is one of the most repulsive, sick fucking things you can do, and that you should never see daylight again if you did it.
Right.
So
and I don't care if you wear a blue hat. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, I like anybody who's in there, I hope they have the full extent of the law against them. Like, that's just the way it works. And I've seen the most astounding level of cope from the MAGAs where it's like, yeah, but Jesus won't want us to forgive President Trump if he's in the Epstein files. Are you fucking kidding me?
Look, you know it. You know for a fact, again, and just because they love to sue people, allegedly, I'll say.
Allegedly.
But I mean, you know, when you list all these things, Katie Johnson, 13-year-old, suing Donald Trump for rape and then backing out when she said she was being threatened. 20-something women accusing him of sexual assault. The grab him by the pee, line on the Access Hollywood thing. The fact
walking in back in fucking changing rooms.
That's literally what I was getting to. The fact that he said on Howard Stern in 2005, the reason he bought these pageants was so that he could walk through and watch 15 and 16-year-old girls changed. A famous story told about, running into a 14-year-old girl with Ivanka and turning to Ivanka and saying, I'll probably be dating her in 10 years, which is probably more like 3. Ivanka's existence in general and the creepy behavior with her, talking about her breasts and her butt and all the other things. I mean, you can go on, and there's so much, and then of course add in the note that the sick, classless note he wrote to Epstein for his birthday. Yes, he wrote it, and the fact that he hung around somebody like Epstein.
Did you catch the comment in his acetaminophen speech that I thought very, very, very odd?
Which of them? Because I caught a number of comments. So
the comment about Hep B, the vaccine.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Where he said that, it's only sexually transmitted, so you don't need it till you're 12. That's an odd number to attribute to sexual things.
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I mean, again, this guy has given it away because the fact of the matter is he's and there have been a lot of dumb ones. He's the dumbest fucking fascist ever.
Oh my God.
He comes right out and tells you. So when you look at his past behavior, the things he said, what he's done, it's the most obvious thing in the world. Like, I would be shocked, and we already know David actually broke this a few months ago on our site, which is when all these reporters are like, we don't know, could he be in the Epstein files? And David was like, look at the Katie Johnson lawsuit where they got access to them. It's right there. The only thing we don't know is exactly why he was in there and and what specifically he did.
Silly. He's an FBI informant. You're being silly. That was what it was. He was an FBI informant. What a fucking joke.
That was it.
That was the most ridiculous thing.
Porn monitoring prick, Hey, son, come on in. Let's check out your browser. Jesus.
Fuck, that's insanity. Insanity.
Luke, for everybody who's watching, and I unfortunately have about another few minutes and I got to run. How can people find you? What is your future? What is, where can people find you? Whether it's YouTube, TikTok.
I'm everywhere. Generally speaking, if you look up the phrase "it's Luke," you'll find me.
Yep, he's got a great Substack. A lot of subscribers. So folks watching on Substack here should subscribe there. Again,
I appreciate that.
Same. I mean, his TikTok and his Instagram are fucking enormous. And thankfully, he was kind of him to help promote this show there. So for all I know, some of those folks are here from what he does, and I'm hoping we'll find him a lot. I don't want to steal him from the Find Out podcast and have Tim put out a hit on me, but and I'm not expecting that I will. But being that Tim that he has our, let's call it joie de vivre, our feeling about life and about how one should talk about the Republican Party and one should treat people like that. I'm hoping we can get Luke to participate, whether it's writing a guest piece or whether it's doing a guest TikTok or whatever it is.
Love
Luke,
to do that.
you want to do for us, because it's like when you sit there and you're putting together a group of people. I don't want to make it sound like we're like cool in the Avengers.
I don't know. I think we're like the Avengers.
There you go. Fine, I'm
Avengers
taking
of
it from you. We're the
Wild
fucking Avengers.
Political commentators.
And Luke, what does your family say about what you're doing?
My mom is terrified. My dad is proud. I mean, they're both proud. My whole family likes what I'm doing.
Honestly, I mean,
like
again,
one of the biggest
I'm in my early 50s and my mom's terrified. So it's it is what it is out there, because there are just there's some bad people, and the Republican Party. Yes, not Congress, not Americans, not some cop out. The Republican Party has chosen with 97% of their votes after Newtown to let any lunatic who wants, with any background in crime, with anything else, get their hands on a weapon of war. That was their choice to do that. That is why people have access. They've cut mental health funding, which is why people, and again, I don't want to stigmatize everybody with mental health. Most are nonviolent, but the few percent that are, they've cut the funding that would help those folks who, learn to deal with whatever it is they're dealing with. And on top of it, they have shared what I would call inciting information that I don't even think should be legal. It's one thing to say a general comment. They've made specific comments about specific Democrats and people. Like, that person, is it completely in favor of babies being murdered, aborted?
I would 100%
after they're
agree with
born, and you're just like, there's no such thing as aborted after you're born. It's called murder, you dumb fuck. And that's what you're accusing them of. And all of that's combined to create a dangerous atmosphere. So, I mean, I get why your mom would be scared, but you know what? I'm glad to hear your mom and your dad are proud of you, because they should be damn proud of you. Because
absolutely. And you know what? I to in terms of sort of the language, I had a family friend who sort of pulled me aside and said, David, I'm a little concerned about some of the language that you've been using, because you called Donald Trump an asshole, and what you should have said is that he's a fucking asshole.
There you I like to hear that's where they're coming to you
Point
from.
taken.
Fuck yeah.
We had a few people who are subscribers initially who were like, can you tone that down a little bit? And I was like, look, no disrespect to you. I understand you may feel differently to these folks, but I'm like, this is who I am. And I decided with a Substack and with what I do now, I'm going to be genuine. I don't always need to curse in there. Sometimes I try to come up, as I've said, with multi-syllabic or multi-hyphenated insults for Republicans that mock them and other stuff, and a curse is unnecessary. But sometimes,
gotta use fuck like a comma.
You do. Well put. I may quote you on that.
I got one, and because I got to go pick up my kids and try to convince them to be the next It's Luke, or to follow in your footsteps. Luke, you're doing amazing work. Congratulations, and thanks for joining us. And you and Cliff keep talking. And Cliff, I'll catch up with you later, my friend.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for being here as always, David.
Okay, you got it.
And you, Luke. Let's see. Now maybe we can get like the bigger picture. There we go. Up to you, because I had said originally 245. I don't know why I would think to myself, hey, this guy is I'm sure this guy's not a talker. I'm sure he'll want to leave right when I say, I'm happy talking another 5 or 10 minutes if you've got it.
I got 5 minutes.
All right. So going forward, you've got you're going to keep doing your TikToks. I don't know. Have you seen anything that has given more specific information when these awful, like, Ellison family of Oracle and Andreessen Horowitz, the fucking, the guys who are in league with Peter Thiel, and Zuckerberg and
wannabe oligarchs.
Right. Like when it is they would take over the domestic operations
Supposedly,
of TikTok.
they would have to have a U.S. version of the app and a U.S. retrained algorithm by like December 16th, I think is the date that I have seen.
Okay. So, I mean, if you think about it, first of all, there's some important elections in November, governor's races, Virginia, New Jersey, things like that. So we can start with, they're not doing it. It's probably not likely happening before this election, but even so, these are Trump people. They fail at lots of stuff.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I thought about it. At first, I was really doom and gloom about it. But I don't know if you're a super internet guy, but Tumblr was bought out by fucking, I don't remember what company it was. They wanted to turn it into fucking Facebook monetized bullshit, and the community there fought back. I mean, they literally fought it back to being what it was. And I'm not willing to, like, I've seen a lot of people that say they're deleting the app as soon as they buy it. I'm not doing that. I'm not willing to let it turn into fucking X where it's just a right-wing cesspool. I mean, until the day that I get 0 views.
That's what I was
gonna
going to
keep
say.
posting there.
That's what I was going to say. I understand why friends of mine deleted X. I have it, and I use it because it reaches enough people to promote what we do here, and I think that's important. In fact, this is streaming there right now. So
Right.
I sort of found a happy medium. I lost a whole bunch of, well, I think a lot of my followers left, and whatever, but I still have a decent enough following there that I feel like it's worth promoting, convincing, doing what we do there. But I fully respect the people that did leave because it's
I do too.
And a lot of what I do there is literally, drive-by posting. I go by and put a YouTube video up or a Substack piece and just get the hell out of there. So I don't even, you know what I mean?
It is
So
awful.
But what I would say to you is that's sort of the standard, because if I were looking now and I know I'm getting fewer views because of Musk, but if I were getting none, then I would just shut it down.
Right.
So what I'd say to you when it comes to TikTok is, if it becomes more conservative in a way, you become even more important liberal voice.
Yeah.
I'd say stay as long as they can't figure out, how to completely suppress your voice. If they can do that, then there's no point in being there. But
yeah, I mean, if they ban me and then they ban my backup, I'll probably be done. But that until then, I'm not fucking leaving.
No,
I'm not going to give in.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to look at it, and that's the way I have with all this stuff. Okay, so TikTok going forward, you're going to keep doing your thing. How many times did you guys? I should have asked Chris or Tim this. How many times did you do the Find Out podcast per week?
Twice a week. We do
twice a week,
Tuesday episodes and Thursday episodes.
So Tuesday and Thursdays you can catch Find Out. Great group of guys. Important too, guys, because what I said about Luke is also important with all of them. 5 white guys who are sitting there and are really speaking to other white guys like them.
That's the goal.
Being like, what the fuck? Take a look at this. This is insane. You're on Substack. I don't know how much or little. You can say that, but you've got over 30,000 subscribers. So either people just love you for existing, or you've put some stuff up there that has resonated.
Yeah, I post all my videos there.
So there you go. So you can you keep going forward with that. Any other plans for anything else?
I'd like to do some longer form YouTube stuff, but it's a fucking world that's just completely foreign to me. So I got to involve myself in learning how to do it well.
Well, that's a talk you and I can have. You give me some advice on TikTok. I'll give you some advice on YouTube. And I think we can be helpful to each other. Because, I mean, I really think, it has to, it's longer, more involved, whatever.
Tricky, man.
It is. But I could still, let's get your link tree up there, Jim put up there.
Thank you.
Of course. I really do see your type of commentary, as much as they're tight asses there. You'll just have to learn. Like, I think for regular videos, it's like the first 8 or 10 seconds. You can't say fuck or whatever, or they won't fully demonetize you, but they'll partially
get salty about it.
Yeah. So you can make it 8 or 10 seconds after that, Fuck it.
I feel like I can make it 8 seconds.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've had trouble with that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I try to do that on TikTok. I don't know if it actually makes a difference, but I try to make it through like the first 10 or so seconds. And there are times I just can't fucking do it. That it's got to be like the first 3.
Well, so I think you can pick up there. And again, Substack's out there, and there's always new things. And I think there's ways we can all we can all utilize it. So listen, dude, we'll be in touch. Definitely. I would love to work with you on stuff that makes sense for you and
Wonderful.
us.
Me too.
And keep up that rage, keep up that amazing ability to communicate that rage and let people know why, that you're not just somebody screaming at the wall, that you're so good at explaining why it is you're angry in a way that I think people can understand. Keep doing that. We're lucky to have you. So thank you for being out there, and thanks for joining us at the Cliff's Edge.
My pleasure. And thank you.
Live stream today. My pleasure. I'll talk to you folks for a couple more minutes, and then it'll be time to hit the road. Luke, thanks so much, dude. I'll be in touch. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care, buddy. All right. hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I sure did. Luke's awesome. And again, I can't really say how much, we need voices out there that are willing to just say it like it is. I mean, I'm sorry, sound self-serving because of who I am, but I couldn't do it any other way. I've tried in the past when I felt like I had to. And I decided, John Arena says Luke is great. You are correct. I've decided that I just, it's got to either be authentically me, and that doesn't mean every thought that pops in my head. It just means true to who I am, and that's what you'll get from here. Which is, what I say represents what I feel. And guess what? I meant to compliment Luke because of the fact that here he is, he's 22, and he said, he learned from other people telling him he's wrong. I've done the same. I've learned from some of you guys in the comments telling me, hey, you shouldn't say this that way or whatever, because that's another trait of our faux Trumpian masculinity, that you have to always be right. I'm wrong all the time. I like to think I'm right about politics a lot more than I'm wrong, but you know what? Like, being wrong isn't weak. Being wrong and trying to hide it and act like you were right, that's weak. Being wrong and saying I was wrong, and thank you for helping me understand that I was wrong, whatever it is, that actually shows you have some strength, you have some confidence, that you don't scare easily. So, Mr. Android, as long as you tell us how you feel without telling us we need to feel that way too. I'll never tell you how you need to feel. So I think you can feel pretty safe there. It is up to you how you feel about all of this. I assume you're here because on some level, you're not happy with things. How unhappy with things you are, what you're willing to do. Sure, I'll encourage you to do certain things. I think a certain tactical work, for example, I think that you should find your local Nextar and your local Sinclair station, and just let them know exactly how you feel about the fact that they're betraying democracy. Let me see. I can maybe share the image here. If I can pull it off, guys. Let's see. Is it this one? Hold on. No, that's just Nextar. Where's the one that I want? I want that one. All right. So let's see if we can do this. And not that any of you are going to like mark down, like, quickly necessarily, like what it is that you may not be able to. Where is it? Where are you? Come on. Work with me. That's not what I wanted. It's Luke. Who owns News Nation? Look at that. News Nation. Let's see if this is it. Is this it? I don't know. That's just it's a Substack. But I would have to show you. See, they've got advertiser hit list, but yeah, they've got lists of stations. You're not going to be able to take sort of notes and all that. So let me say the simplest thing possible. Look in your local market, see if there's a Sinclair or a Nextar owned station. Call those stations and tell them that not only will you not be watching them, but you're going to be calling their advertisers and letting them know that they hate democracy and hate free speech, and that their advertisers should not advertise there. And then you can look up their advertisers. I'm going to put more of a project together. It'll be in a Substack. Again, blueamp.co, folks. Please subscribe to our Substack. It's really important. Also, Cliffs_Edge is our YouTube. I would ask you to please subscribe there. Lefty Gramps, they own your local ABC station. They own 2 of them here in Cincinnati. So not shocked by that. And guess what? I will not watch either of them. Amethyst Tony, Nextar took over by local ABC. All the people turned orange and blonde. Yes, lots of Ozempic. Just again, what happened with ABC happened because we all spoke out. And it was easier, right? Because Disney, everybody knew who it was. But with Sinclair in your local markets and Nextar, it's a little more difficult. But what I will tell you is, any way you can destroy the reputation of, with not libelous, but just honest opinion about News Nation, do it. Go across your social media, because News Nation is owned by Nextar and they're trying to grow. Call it crap, call it garbage, call it propaganda, say it sucks, say it's not worth your time, just anywhere. As I've said before, we're all communicators. You got 10 friends on Facebook, share it with them. Make sure they all know that these are garbage outlets. You'll see stuff if you follow my Substack, because I'm going to be working on this project because these fucking sons of bitches who think they can take away our right to see what we want to see, where we want to see it, I think need to be targeted, and they need to lose their advertisers. So I'm going to be, yes, Bertha, deregulating media so the corporations could own multiple stations in a market was long term. I mean, it was, that was the word. That was, again, as we know right now. I know Cynthia's a big Bill Clinton fan, and I said before, I'm a big Bill Clinton fan. But signing the 1996 Telecommunications Act was one of his biggest mistakes, because it just added on to what Republicans were doing with the Fairness Doctrine and other stuff. We let them take over so much of our media, and we should have never done that. And I think it just came from, we felt like we were comfortable, we were okay, and look at, maybe we didn't think they would become Nazis. Well, the joke was on us, wasn't it? All right, 313. I'll give you blueamp.co. We have somebody awesome coming on tomorrow. Damn it, whose name is not right in front of me, but a former veteran. Bob Jennings. That's it. That's his name. It's got to be his name. And if I'm getting it wrong, I'm going to punch myself. Maybe on air for all of you. Who is a veteran, has been involved with Lincoln Square, is fantastic, and there'll be some of those issues because, I mean, there's depression among the National Guard right now that are in DC. Word is some of them are actually trying to get like their officers above them to sign papers saying they won't be held legally responsible because they so much don't want to do what they're being asked to do. And I hate to tell them, but if your commanding officer tells you to do something illegal, that doesn't make it legal. Like, you're in a shitty position, and I feel sorry for you because you may have joined the National Guard to pay for school or for the right reasons, but you literally just have to simply disobey their orders. You simply have to not do what they tell you to do if it's illegal. I'm not sure what else to tell you. All right. We've had a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. Who's coming with me, guys? Come on. Don't make me do my Jerry Maguire. What do we got? We got 2 folks to read out here, and I need at least 5 before I leave. We got a new member. Thank you, Bridget Sweeney. Bridget Sweeney, your name sounds familiar, and you may be somebody I know from outside. If you're not, then tell me. You can tell me I'm wrong, but I think you may be. Thank you for becoming a new YouTube member. Mr. Android, who told me he does not want me to tell him what to think. I will never tell you what to think. Well, yes, I will, but I will never say you must think it. I'll tell you what I think everyone should be doing. I'm not doing too badly myself. That's kind of nice. I don't mind doing too badly or not doing too badly. So that's a good thing. Those are my folks here. Could we, super chats, super stickers, 99 cents. Lefty Gramps always jumping in. Thank you. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, Lefty Gramps. Should be a great show, 2 to 3 on Substack, blueamp.co. We're at 3. Who else wants to jump in? 2 more people. That's all I need. Help. $1, $1.99, 99 cents, $1.50. All these things fund this effort. All of it fund my ability to get people on the show, my ability to do this, to write 3 Substacks a week, to do a Substack show, to do this show, to create videos. There's got to be at least 2 more folks out there who have an extra 99 cents or $1.99 just burning a hole in their pocket. Do we have anybody, or am I going to have to leave here with the fish? Dan Cliff, I can't do anything at the end of the month. Lisa Hopo. Again, the caveat to what I'm saying right now is I always will tell you, do not give me anything that you need. So if you need anything funds that you need for your family, and you know what that is, please don't give it to me. I don't want that. I'm talking about the folks that show up here a lot and may have extra funds to give so that we can fight for democracy. As you know, with our sound check fund, we stepped up to the plate over at, it's coming from Substack, but we're giving to all sorts of creators. And, we put $10,000 in. So I've got skin in this game, folks. I've donated money that could be my money. And And so all I'm asking is if you have $1 or $2 that you give it in, because I also feel like it's a thing. Cliff, when you were on with John Fugelsang, I spoke to you in John's Sirius XM radio show earlier this year. There you go, Bridget. Okay, that's where it's familiar from. Do we have 2 more people? Come on. $1.99. You can turn me into a used car salesman. Look at that. Bertha, you're fantastic. Bertha A, $1.99. Thank you so much for the super chat sticker. And Becky Burgess comes to the rescue with $9.99. See, guys, that's it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to give more. The more, the merrier. The more you give, the more we can spend on. Bridget Sweeney's been a member for a month. Awesome. The more you give, the more we are able to support the Soundcheck Fund and give creators funds to buy microphones and amps. Well, we're Blue Amp, so that's probably why I said that. I don't know if they need an amplifier really, unless they're playing rock and roll. Microphones and lights and the various things one needs to be able to do this stuff, right? Like those things aren't cheap, and those sometimes stop people from getting started. So that is why. Wait a minute, I've got a Bridget Sweeney who's been a member for a month, and a new Bridget Sweeney. Bridget, are there 2 of you? I don't know, but thank you so much, Becky. That was really, really kind. That was even well above what I asked for. Again, all this allows us to move forward with the mission. So, again, it'd be easier to hide. It'd be easier not to, and Jim gives you this. Just spreading the word helps. You get more people. We've had 16 to 17,000 people. We've been on a nice run again, subscribed to our YouTube in the last month. So we are at about 144 or 145,000. You go subscribe at Cliff's Edge. It's free. You can get us closer to that 150,000 mark, which would be pretty damn awesome. Hey, you guys have been awesome. You've been great. I keep using the word awesome. I need a dictionary. I mean, you've been wonderful. You've been fantastic. You've been fabulous. You've been brilliant. Do me a favor. And as Jim said, subscribe to Cliff's Edge. You can even subscribe to blueamp.co, our Substack, for free. Both of those are free. The paid subscriptions help, and the super chats help with all the things we do. But you can subscribe for free. The other thing, I think I put it on there before, so why not again? What makes it so I can do this and ask for less money is when you go and click on something like Incognito here, which will, again, Donald Trump searching through your personal data, sharing it. Palantir, heard of them? Peter Thiel's company is trying to build the biggest database in Americans ever. You want to scrub yourself off, scrub your information from as many places online as possible. Incognito. And you use code BlueAmp and you get 55% off, which ain't a bad deal. So that's another way you can help. Just clicking on Incognito and going and checking out the product and considering getting it, because it's a great product. I believe we've reached the end of our moment. So, my friends, as I say, after a great show like this, especially, be good, be well, take care of yourselves, be nice to each other, really sort of get kindness to sort of, let's play it forward a little bit, and be better people than they are, but also fight them with everything we've got. Be good to people, and other people, there's a kindness vibe that goes with that and helps, I think, people that aren't really sure where they should be to realize who the real good guys are here. But I am done with the everything of this show. It's 3:21. That's a long show for us these days. So, my friends, as the sun sets slowly in the west, I bid you a fond farewell.